your mother, maybe meet my brother, 'cause you know it's hard to please, and daddy ain't no front no more. And when my struggles got harder, you were really down for sure. Took away the pain I thought would never leave you. The key to my heart in the middle. Sometimes I feel like I love him a little. If it don't work out, then I'm lonely again. Back to a bottle and a joint with a friend. It's too early to say that I'm in it. Is it too late to up and quit it? Fronting in public, can't call your friend. I can't pretend. All is I know is I'm all in again.
Well,
But hello.
hello. I'm not sure what happened with the link and stuff. So we've been here since 5 to 9. So, but I'm glad you've joined us. No. So my name is Namdi, and this is Stevie.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yes, yeah, well, yes. Stevie really got me onto your music, and you know, because he's you know, he's really been championing and promoting UK R&B, and that's the one thing that we're really excited to be hearing and hearing about from artists here in the UK, and really trying to champion the stuff that you're doing.
Yeah, I know that he played me a couple times, so I'm thankful for that. So thank you very much.
You're our first artist, by the way, on our new channel.
Thank you.
And what a fitting way, you know, your artist name is Duchess, so what a fitting way to launch the channel with a Duchess.
I love that. I mean, it's not because I think I'm royalty or anything, guys. My dad actually used to call me Duchess growing up, so coming into music, it just seemed the right name to keep for myself, you know. So that is.
Are you the Duchess of Essex? We're wondering where you're from.
Definitely not.
Yeah, I mean, where were you born and raised?
Southeast London, yeah, on an estate called Cloth Workers, yeah, I moved around quite a lot growing up actually. So I lived in Southeast London, and then from the age of like 13, I moved around to like up west side, so kind of like Croydon, Wandsworth. I've lived in Thamesmead. I've lived out of, and like, yeah, I've just moved around quite a bit. So yeah.
And then how did you then, you know, with all that kind of moving around and stuff, how did you get into music? When did you start?
So I've always loved music and loved to perform, like anything to do with like in school. I would love to take the lead role in any plays or anything. And in college, I also done music. So I got my diploma in college at Northwest Kent College in Dartford. Had a really lovely time. And then I left college and I actually started working. And I didn't really focus on music because, you know, life gets in the way and things are happening. And I guess I was more supporting my family and my mum at that time because she was a single mother and she had split from my father. So, yeah, I guess my main priority was just being at home and helping her bring up my younger siblings. So I actually got into music professionally when I was like 19. Yeah, 19. I basically quit my job as a business developer and I thought, wow, I've got to just go for it really. Don't matter if I'm a bit broke for a while, you know. And I just took that chance and yeah, everything seemed to fall into place finally. When I started doing like open mic nights and gigs, and that's when, yeah, I started doing it professionally. I'd never recorded professionally or anything until about 4.5 years ago.
Wow.
How did you, this voice of yours is incredible. I mean, when did you realize you could sing, and how did you develop your vocal growing up?
Wow, I'm self-taught. I think I've had like 3 vocal classes with a wonderful woman called Mary Hammond. I used to do a few classes with her, but I don't know why. I didn't stick at it, and I should have. And I will go back to vocal coaching because I feel like, you know, it will really help me. I've got so much more to learn about my voice, but yeah, like I'm self-taught. Everything I know about music, or you know, the way I do sing and handle my voice, is just from singing and seeing, you know, how it goes, I guess. So I've just taught myself over the years, and being in studios really helped me. A lot of producers have definitely helped me with that as well, you know, when it comes down to recording. So I guess it's just happened naturally through making music. Since young though, I've always loved to sing, and I've always kind of been the one in the family that has a voice. So, you know, when people used to come around and do the surveys, my brother and sister and my mum would be like, "Here I sing," and I'll be there. Come around to do a survey about chocolate or something on the estate. So yeah, from young, really, I've just always known that I've had a passion for music, and that's never ever changed, literally.
Who were you listening to when you were growing up? I mean, who were the artists that inspired you?
So Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, Gregory Isaac, Tracy Chapman, like, yeah, Aretha Franklin, like, because my dad used to listen to a lot of like Bob Marley and things like that. And I think out of all of us, my dad used to actually sing. So if I got it from anyone, it must have been my dad.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's quite a mature selection of
Yeah, that's what I was
artists,
going to say.
you know?
Yeah, so you know, most people would have artists that came out and say, you know, based on your age, you'd be looking at artists that came out in 2000s. So, but you're going way back.
I know, right? But I think that's the music that resonated with me, because it just felt so real and raw. And like, as an artist, like when I look at artists like Amy Winehouse and Whitney Houston, just the way they was just so real with their music, you know, I don't think they tried to hide anything. You know, unfortunately they're not with us today, but I just think when it comes to their perseverance as a artist, I look up to that so much. So yeah, they was definitely two of the women that I looked up to musically, you know.
What about here in the UK? Were there any artists that you saw and thought, oh, okay?
Definitely. I mean, Adele has always been someone that I have held highly. She amazes me, and I hope one day I get to meet her. But yeah, Adele. I love Ray, who is very current now in the industry. Obviously, I mean, I love Beyonce. Yeah, from young, Beyonce's always been one of my idols. Also, like Destiny's Child, loved them growing up. Black Eyed Peas, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but currently Billie Eilish, I think, is an amazing artist. There's a few like rappers that I like. You know, you have Stormzy, you have Nines, Hot Paper. Yeah, like there's a lot of people that that inspire me in the industry now. But if I'm talking about my sound and where I naturally got that soul from, it would definitely be like more back in the day artists for sure.
I mean, what I'm seeing currently, well, for some time now, in terms of, you know, youthful R&B and female singers in general, there is a saturation. It used to be all male in the 90s. The way me and Namdi grow up, it was all male vocal R&B groups.
You're right.
For the women to get through, but now we're in a saturation period of young female R&B singers. I feel, and you know, this sounds a bit controversial, I think there's a lot of nice and average singers out there. They look pretty, they might be at a dance, but actually, when it comes to hearing an outstanding vocal, the likes of artists me and Namdi grew up on, it's hard to find, it's hard to spot, obviously, because there's not much A&R development like there was back then. But with what I'm hearing with your voice, I think you're up there. I think you really could be up there, you know. You've got all the makings of someone who could be really, the voice is there, you know, it stands out. And
I think that's important, right? I mean, you know, yeah, there is so, you know, to what you said, Stevie, like these days, it's the way someone looks that carries them. There's a lot of like musicians I could name that are just a pretty face or have that look, and everyone, the clout is around that, instead of like the real vocal. And I think for me, I don't like to complicate things. Like, I would rather a song be more about the music, you know, and the lyrics, and the point I'm trying to get across, you know, and not so much about the flowers and glitz and glamour around it, you know. So yeah, I love that about the way I am as an artist.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean that's really going to be important, because if you want to be able to stand out and have longevity and not compromise, that's going to be, you know, the important thing is to find your voice, find your lane, and just stay with it, and know that actually you get discovered and you get more and more exposure. But you know, the what is happening now, especially as Stevie mentioned. So we, you know, when we grew up, there was countless male artists, from Joe to Maxwell to R. Kelly to Aaron Hall. It was just countless, and it was a variety. Everyone sounded different. Everyone spoke about love in a different way. And the industry shifted where they started to promote women were overtly sexual, both in the hip hop, but also in R&B. Very few men are singing about anything love. It's very materialistic, and so there's a young generation that seems to be fine with that. But there's a wide market of people that are saying, you know, this doesn't seem to resonate with us, so we're going back to some of the old school stuff and just staying there because, you know, we're not satisfied.
Not the same anymore.
But we're crying out for talent like yourself to have a message that is unique. I mean, when we talk about your music, do you have a theme and a theme of what you write and sing about?
Definitely. I mean, real life. A lot of my music is, well, all of it, you know, that's out are my experiences. A lot of music that I haven't put out yet is, you know, even me writing in someone else's shoes, because, you know, people have told me their stories and I've been lucky enough to hear them and they're happy with me putting it into music. And I think my music is just like about my life, real life, whether it's trauma, pain, love, happy times, family. It's pretty much just like what comes in the moment. It's not made up, it's not saturated, you know what I mean? It's pretty real. Everything I write about is an experience, and I think that's staying true to me as an artist. So I think for me to carry on doing that, I need to live life and I need to experience them things, you know. We need to experience the heartbreak and then the happy times and the ups and the downs and the roller coasters. That's what it's about. And then with that, it's about putting it into different ways, so every song isn't the same. You know, there's thousands, hundreds of thousands of love songs, but they're all different, you know. For it be all different genres, you need to find a way to interpret that. So I find that very exciting, because I can have one experience that I want to write about and I end up writing 3 different songs about that. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, everything I write about is true events. Yeah. And how I feel.
What were the first studio tracks you recorded?
So one of the first tracks I recorded, it's not out, it's called Shoulder, and it's actually from a freestyle. And it's actually the song that I would sing when I started doing like my live gigs and things like that, like live nights. And it came from a freestyle, but what I was saying, it just made sense. Like when we look back at it and listen to it, I'm like, oh my gosh, it just all made sense, because clearly what my heart wanted to say, you know, without even thinking about it. And that's why I freestyle a lot. A lot of my music comes from freestyling, because I think in the moment it's very real and it will just come out the way it needs to. So yeah, my first couple of tracks, Shoulder, and then there's do you know what, there's a lot of music that isn't out that I started recording, because when I started getting into like recording studios and that, I had never recorded before, so I was finding my sound as an artist and, you know, what I wanted to say. So I've got so many unreleased musics that fall into all different genres, because very versatile artists. And, you know, even though I'm doing R&B now, in the future, I want to dive into different genres and I want to be appreciated as an artist that can do that, you know, and it not be confusing, and you just appreciate the art. So yeah, there's the songs that I have out now, like Early Days EP, like Elephant, and Why Can't We, and Blame, and When It All Falls Down. They were also some of the first songs that I ever recorded in the studio, and they happen to be some of the favorites of the people that I was working with, and they thought this is a great start, and that's why we started there. So yeah.
How do you write? Do you write with piano or keyboard? Sorry, or guitar?
Yeah, so I personally don't play any instruments. I know a few strings on the to be honest, I need to start learning, because one thing on my bucket list is to get up on stage and sing on my own with a guitar or a piano. That would just be such a moment. So I can't wait for that day. But yeah, I always start with music that's very stripped back, live instruments, bass guitar, electric guitar. It could be violin, it could be a bit of piano and acoustic guitar. Because I think it just resonates more with me. It's not too busy. And then I think I start with something simple. I freestyle, I write, I take the best bits from that, and then we create the production around it. And I think that's where a lot of my songs have been made. And I find that the best way to make music. Yeah.
Wow. There was I have been going through your YouTube channel the last week, going through all your back catalogue of stuff that's up there. The track When It Falls Down, that kind of had the one with the hip hop soul feel to it. It's got like a bit of a hip. What inspired that? Because I love the beat, the hip hop feel of it, and you know, again, it takes me back to the 90s. That feel of it.
Oh. When It All Falls Down, is it When It All Falls Down, or Ever Ever?
I'm sure it was When It Falls Down. I'm sure it was that. It had a bit of a grind, you know, 90s kind of chugging hip hop beat to it. I'm getting mixed up with another track.
Yeah, only because When It All Falls Down is quite relaxed. It does have quite either way.
Or is it Why Can't We?
Why can't we just sing?
No, it's not that. It's not that one.
Forever, ever, ever, forever, ever, forever.
It's on that EP anyway, the Early Days EP.
Either way, so basically, well, that EP, I kind of, inspired me. Well, I wanted to make music that had that feeling from back in the day, but also was modern, you know? So, you know, people of these days would like to bop to it. Do you know what I mean? But I guess I love hip hop, like growing up, you know, and R&B, you know, I love Biggie Smalls and Tupac Shakur and, you know, artists like that, Little Kim. So I had to bring that kind of sound into my music without getting too hip hoppy or rappy, and still keep it musical, you know, as an artist. So yeah, I guess maybe some of my childhood inspired that.
I see.
Because I listening to a lot of that music. My brother and sister, you know, they were older than me, and they listened to a lot of hip hop and R&B and rap, things like that. So yeah, I guess when making that, I had that in the back of my mind.
But then how does the production get handled then?
Yeah, so I've been very privileged to work with some amazing musicians and producers. And I guess when I was like finding my sound and making music, I was introduced to a lot of different producers. And the tracks on my first EP, Early Days, all 4 songs were actually made by different producers. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. Wow. Because what we did, we kind of all connected and made sure that the sound connected in a way where it didn't sound like this song was from here and this song sounds like this, and it came together as a EP project. And it was really cool, because normally you have artists that will just work with one producer, and I think that's the best way to do it if you have a project you want to focus on. But because I guess I was just in and out with so many producers at the time, it all kind of just fell together and worked. So I was lucky in that way. And I think all the songs are different in their own way, but when you listen to them all, it's like they just come, I don't know, they just, yeah, they bounce off each other, they connect quite well, so that was pretty cool.
I noticed the track Elephant, it's had 175k views, the video.
Yeah, that was a really cool time. Thank you. Yeah, I'm very proud of that. Like, it feels good to know people are watching, and all I want to do is do more. I haven't released music in a while. All In Again is obviously coming back fresh with, you know, a new sound, but it still connects to the music that I have out before because it's real emotion. And I think that's what people say when they listen to my music. They're like, all different sounds, but the emotion they get from it is very moving and warm. And that's what I always want to do. I want people to feel something when they listen to music. But yeah, it got really good views, so I'm happy about that. And yeah, I will be doing another music video soon, and hopefully it gets to as many.
I'd love you to do a video for the new single, you know.
I'm working on it. I'm independent now, so things are a bit more tricky. But I'm definitely working towards that. I definitely am. So yeah,
can you explain what? Because I think the biggest thing for us is, as you know, even when we talk to artists who are based in the States, the landscape has changed with the labels and promotion and everything. What is it like being an independent artist here in the UK, an R&B artist?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think, you know, I've been with a label and it was a really cool experience. And oh gosh, I learned so much. But what you realize is that labels are all the same. They're all the same machine. It's just the people that are individually different. And I think for me, it was finding the right people that I feel aren't just gonna, you know, crazy about my voice and music, but are actually gonna like have my back and protect me, you know? So being independent now and going through that change of coming out of my deal and whatnot, it's really kind of refreshing in the way like I don't have to ask 10 people if this is okay. It's just people in my team. There's like 3 of us currently. And it's like, right, do we like this? Yes. Do we want to put out? How do we do it? What's the best way to do it? Obviously, I do find it a bit challenging being independent, you know, because as we know these days, it's not easy to find funding and things like that. And I do hope that in the future and now I can find, you know, like distribution or partner up with certain organizations and music, you know, businesses. But I'm enjoying being able to be in control of my creativity and what I make, you know, and the music I want to put out. So, and you know, they say too many cooks spoil the broth, and I think sometimes it can steer you away from what you really want to do and the music you really want to put out as an artist. So yeah, it's give me more freedom, but it also is scary at the same time because it's like it's all on me.
Yeah.
You know, but it's my dream, you know, and I'm responsible for that, and I need to push to make that happen. So if anything, it's made me go harder, and I love that, you know.
So how do you balance then the career as an independent artist, but also the fact that the reality of day-to-day living?
Yeah, it's a bit mad. Hard out here, right? That's like, yeah, it's tricky. I won't lie, you know. You get frustrated because you want to do so many things. I have such a big vision, you know. When I listen to my music, to me, it seems big. Like I feel like I want to be listened to worldwide. And I think to do that, you need money. And right, that's not what we all got. Do you know what I mean? So I guess it's about putting out amazing music, being the artist I am, showing my personality, and hopefully that comes naturally. But it is a struggle. I mean, you know, I'm working here and there to, you know, keep the roof over my head. I don't live at home with my parents, you know, since I was very young. I've lived alone. whether it be in hostels or whatnot. I'm working my way up to somewhere. But I guess the rewards are much greater when you've done it all yourself, and the important people around you have really helped you a lot. My siblings are amazing. They really do inspire me. Like my older sister Sade just opened a new takeaway restaurant in Welland called and she's been grinding for 10 years to be a chef. And now she's finally opened her own shop. Same with my brother. He worked, we're all doing our thing. And to see her do that just shows I can get that. I can get to my dream. It just takes time. But I would rather it take time than being overnight, what do they call it? When you blow up overnight and then it all down a couple years. I want to really make an imprint in the industry, and I want it to be different. So if it takes years and years and years, then I'm here. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm down for that. I'm good with the hustle. I've been hustling my whole life. I'm only 26, but I've been working hard. So hopefully that pays off, and it's the hard work is never done. It continues all the time, right? So life at the end of the day, you got to get on with it.
When I look at the UK R&B artists in general, and I shouldn't compare it, but again, going back to the 90s, I'd go out to a record shop, I'd buy the records that came out, I'd maybe hear them in a club, hear them on the radio, the video would be on the TV. I felt part of a scene, an actual R&B scene, whether it be US, UK. I look at your generation now, my daughter's generation, that youthful generation. I feel, do you feel part of an R&B scene? Do you feel there is a scene here, or it's just a bunch of static, selective artists just out there, all just doing their own thing, doing their own movements, and there's not much of a connection going on? How do you feel about that?
For me personally, for other artists maybe that are a bit more established in the industry, feel like there is kind of a community. But I guess right now I feel like it's weird. I don't know if there's much appreciation for the UK scene, the UK R&B scene. And I feel like a lot of artists, I use LMA as an example, went to America and they appreciate her out there, and she's, I feel like more appreciated there, which is crazy, so yeah, I feel like it's slept on a lot here. I don't really feel like there's a big community of R&B artists that are shown enough. How would I put it? I don't know. I just don't think there's enough eyes on it.
I think it is what you have to do, like you were saying earlier about, it's not just a case of getting your track made, mixed and mastered, produced. You've then got to promote it, and that in itself is draining. Looking what artists have to do on social media, for example, to get I know it's easy to upload the track, but they've got. I honestly think, right, and again, I might sound controversial here, and I'll say this to any UK R&B artist watching this now: you need to hustle more. If I message, say, a Nigerian artist for a track to play on the radio, I'm honestly, it's in my inbox within minutes. They're just on the hustle straight away. Yeah, no problem, sir. I'll send it straight away. If I message a UK R&B artist, can I play your record? Can I have you to play it on the air? I have to wait 3 days for a week before they even remember. Yeah. I'm like, what are you doing? You've got an opportunity here to have your record played on radio. You might even get an interview. It's it's good exposure for it. What's going on? You know what I mean? Hustle more, hustle people more. But it can be draining. I understand it can be draining doing that. No, I
agree with you, Stevie. Yeah, for sure. I won't even lie. Like myself, I've had to push myself more to be on to things more. Now I'm independent. It's just like, if you don't do enough, it's not happening. Do you know what I mean? If you're at home sat there on your ass, it's not going to happen. You need to be you need to almost put yourself there, you know, so people do find you, do see you, and that comes with a lot of hard work. So you're right. I think there needs to be more of like an urgency of that, because it is everyone's a bit too laid back. Don't you think everyone's a bit too
Totally,
laid back?
really, you know.
Yeah.
Right, like chilling, like it's nothing. You're
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
And if you understand a bit, R&B isn't has to fight more than hip hop. You know, I think out here, whatever it's hip hop has a little bit more of an you know, it's the new pop, so it can come out and get the exposure. But with R&B, even established US R&B acts, if you're not Beyonce or Bruno Mars, it is very hard to really get your music out there. So the established R&B acts from the 90s and 80s, they're just going on tour. They're not really bothering to make new music, because, you know, what's the point? Usher was supposed to do a whole new album, but it's like, you know, what's the point? It's too much effort for very little reward, so I'll just keep touring.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, really. You know, it really is. And I think maybe also for like musicians that are doing R&B these days, like you've really got to come with it. You've got to be on your A game. You've got to get it right. Because I feel like I hold R&B from back in the day so high. So if you're coming into that genre, you've got to know what you're doing and you've got to deliver. And if you don't, yeah, you're going to just fall back into the line of everyone else trying to fill that R&B spot. So, and you've got to be different as well. So yeah, it's hard. And I guess mainly that's why I don't want to stay in the R&B genre, if I'm honest.
Oh, so what would you try and get into? The pop or disco or dance or?
No, like I love R&B, like definitely, but I actually a lot of the songs that I have that are really deep and emotional are more kind of like ballads and a bit of folk, actually. I've got some really amazing songs that I've written about my real life that resonated with me more as an artist, actually. Some of the R&B songs that I've written, and maybe that's because of the way it feels for me personally. But yeah, I feel like I said, I'm very versatile, so I don't want to stay in that box, and I don't want to be put in that box neither as just an R&B artist, because I have so much more to give, so much more to show.
She's going to leave us, Namdi. She's going to leave us R&B, Lois. She's going to leave. She's going to sail off.
Well,
to records, making pop folk music, and that'll be it, mate. And at least we'll be able to say, listen, we had her on the show.
Yeah. But I mean, we're here to promote UK music. UK, yeah, we talk about R&B, but I mean, UK music, soul music, ballads are great. I mean, we had some amazing ballads in the 90s, and you know, I mean, I love how Adele writes and interprets her music.
Yeah.
And you know, and that's why people respond to it, because when it's heartfelt, when it comes from a sincere place, and that's all we ask for, is honesty in music. And so if you are able to tap into that honesty and get some producers and musicians who can help you interpret what you're trying to convey, then it will find an audience, and you know, people like us will always be out there ready to support. I mean, it's different if you come and do house music. We maybe was a little bit out of our range here, but if you do some ballads and you do some real inspirational stuff, I mean, we're cool with that.
Yeah,
I think you should give Insomniacs a copy of Adele's albums, actually, if you want to help them sleep. But that's another topic. Tell us about your two questions: your single, the process of it, and your current single, All In Again, and tell us about how it's been received so far.
Good. So I made All In Again with an amazing musician called Progression. We've actually got a few other tracks that I'm looking to release with him. I actually made All In Again in COVID. I feel like that's when I made some of my best music, because it was just weird time and a lot changed during COVID for me. But yeah, we literally wrote a few songs. It was actually made about 2 years ago. So it's not a new song. I wrote and recorded that with Progression about 2 years ago. And like I said, you know, I'm not with my label anymore. I'm independent. So all of that had to happen. And then, you know, I think mentally it was a lot to take in, and I had to kind of just like take time to process everything and to get back on track to being like, no, you do love music. Don't let it dishearten you. You know where you're supposed to be. And yeah, I hit up Progression and Barry, who's basically working with me, and we said, yeah, let's start here. It was always in the plan, but I guess everything that happened with the label kind of slowed things down. So yeah, now that that's done and all sorted, yeah, it just seemed the right time to get back out there again. You know, it's been too long, and had such great attraction. You know, really great feedback, and I only hope that it just carries on doing well. And I
You've got
get
a bit
more.
of BBC play, haven't you, as well? I noticed that.
I was on the radio with Amelia Pomaz. She's amazing. I met her at a So Far Sound show because I do a lot of love them. Absolutely one of my favorite places to perform. And she met me, saw me perform, and was like, where is this music? And I was like, well, it's not out yet. And she was like, well, when it comes out, I need you on my show. So it was really lovely to see her. And it's just really nice to know that people want to listen, you know, and want to chat and just get to know about Duchess, you know, because to me, I'm just a little old Duchess from Southeast London. So
with an amazing voice. Let's
yeah.
you know.
When people value on my music, it's kind of like, oh yeah, no, I am really good. I can sing really well. Like
You can. You certainly can, miss.
And are you touring then? Are you doing any gigs in around London, or how's that?
So I'm not doing many. I've just actually been asked to do the Great Escape for Brighton on the 13th. So that'd be really cool. First festival of the year, and I want to start putting my own little live night intimate gigs on for myself and just like other artists that are trying to find themselves in the industry, and that just want to connect with other artists. So yeah, I guess things are coming in slowly. It takes time. So hopefully, yeah, things will just pick up and more will come in naturally. So I'm just hoping
What's the plan? Can you reveal the plan for the rest of the year in terms of release wise? Another EP coming or more singles?
So I have a lot of music. Like I said, I've been sitting on. I know for sure like there's 4 certain tracks that I want to release. I do want to release every like 2 months. So yeah, very soon we shall have this out.
Don't hide the R&B tracks. Don't hide the R&B tracks.
Songs are coming are more R&B based, and then we'll see where we go from there. You never know where I'll end up.
I mean, just so you're independent, but do you have a manager that supports you, or are you doing everything by yourself?
I am doing it all myself because I mean, my sister, she's amazing. She helps me so much. We kind of stepped into this industry together. You know, when I first got signed, we went to all the meetings together. She would sit there with her laptop taking all these notes. Pouring my heart out to these labels, like, I just want to do music. I love it. Didn't know what I was doing. I just knew I wanted to sing and make great music. But so it's literally me, my sister, an amazing woman called Marta that helps me with content, and Barry, who also used to be my old A&R, but he's just made his own label called One Night on a Sunday. And independently, we're working together with putting these songs out, because when I was with the label, I worked very close with Barry, and we felt it was right to put out the rest of the music together. So that's the plan. So we're gonna, obviously, I will be looking for management. I guess it just needs to come naturally, and it's got to be the right person. So I guess we're just going with the flow.
One last question from me.
One
last question, and you've got a choice. You can only pick one option. Out of 2 options, you can either have, if I was to offer you 1 billion streams across all streaming platforms worldwide of all your music, or you could have endless A-list radio play around the world. Which would you pick and why?
Probably endless radio play, because
I'm glad to hear that.
that would bring people to my music, and hopefully that would up my streams to 1 billion streams. So
Good answer. Good answer.
also
Yeah.
it would show people who I am. And I just think, yeah, because to me, it's not about the streams. It's about the people listening, and it's about the amount of people my music touch, right? So for me to be played worldwide, unlimitedly, then yeah, I'm down for that. Definitely. I'd pick that any day.
Well, I mean, those are good questions, Stevie, and no,
Yeah, that
definitely. No, and it's good to good to hear. I mean, as I think, one of the things that Stevie and I will keep looking at is because, you know, Stevie has his eye on the ground when it comes to Afrobeat. He's got a lot of people hitting him up from West Africa and around, and he has in his playlist. And then I am very much of an old R&B 90s guy, and so most of my connections are based in America and stuff. But that's why we looked and said, look, you know, we live here in the UK, and the UK in the 80s and some parts of the 90s had some really good R&B and good New Jack and just soul music. But unfortunately, even here, we're not getting as much R&B played out. So how can we do more to expose our artists and do what we can to try and get people to know and support? So there's so many different ideas that we're going to be having, and so it's great that you're our first guest, and I know that there's a lot that we may try and support you with to see how we can get people to see you and to hear you and to experience your stuff. And you know, as I said, if it comes from the heart and if it's going to be unique and authentic, it will find an audience, most definitely.
That's what's important, real music. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I'm thankful. Thank you for having me. Like, honestly, what you're doing is great. And yeah, man, I just appreciate it a lot. It's really
Best of luck, Duchess. Absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Have
So
a-
when you do get the visuals for your video,
yes,
you know, you let us know. But you know what? I would always say, and this is stuff that when I speak to American established artists, what seems to work the best is just being real. So even if you know, it doesn't cost anything to get your camera and start to sing your own songs. That's visual right there. I mean, you don't need a £5,000 video or something like that. You just need people to, and you know, I would always go back to, if you know, any of your old stuff and just constantly just singing those things. And that's a lot of people just want to see something different and be discovered, whether it's YouTube or Instagram or Twitter and all these places. Sometimes it's potluck how one thing will just go viral, but just focus on the art and the craft, and you just see people will come to it. So as much as that you can do, that would definitely be, I'm thinking, if you had somebody who can play a guitar or keyboard, and you just start singing all your tracks and just do an evening with the Duchess, and you're just, you know, playing your stuff, and then you're constantly just releasing it once a week.
Yeah.
That's those kind of things.
Definitely. One thing that I am getting better with is making content and just literally picking up the camera and just letting it be in the moment, because I think I overthink things, and I'm a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to my music. I'm gonna be right, but whatever, do you know what I mean? Just let it be real and rough, do you know what I mean? If it's not perfect, that's okay. People appreciate that. I'm learning, so I'm not being so hard on myself. And like I said, like, my sister Rosario and Marta, who also works with me with like doing content, they're great, and they push me to do more and show more of my personality. So we've been filming a lot more stuff, so there will be a lot more content coming out, and that's just something I promised myself that I have to do, you know, because if you don't do that, then you're not seen. Everything's on social media these days.
Yeah,
it's annoying, but you got to just go with it, and that's exactly what I'm doing. So yeah.
and even with the Duchess, hopefully yes, even with the Duchess. Well, as Stevie, any last words to the Duchess?
I think we should just let her go and catch up with EastEnders now.
Joy, honestly, thank you so much for having me again. And anytime, all right? I'm here. Just hit me up.
We'll definitely do, and we'll take you up on that, and whatever we can do to promote and push you, we'll do so. We'll get your social contact details to put on this when it goes out, and to make sure that people get to follow you and stuff, and put links to some of your old videos and materials and anything new that you're coming up with.
Nice. Thank you so much. Big
You're
love.
Take care.
Bye. How do I end this?
I thank you very much for giving me that spot. Woo! Track of the week. Track of the week. Woo!
Hey guys, my name's Namdi.
And I'm Stevie Street. How you doing?
Yes, we want to welcome you guys to the new R&B Fresh podcast featuring artists and music from the UK.
Well, that's the big hope, isn't it? We're gonna hopefully feature a whole bunch of new, upcoming, and also just R&B artists that have been plowing away for years who would like the exposure. You know, we hope that they'll join the channel, share the stories, share the music with us, share their new singles, EPs. You know, the UK R&B underground music scene at the moment is pretty. There's a lot out there. It's just not getting the exposure, you know, and this is what we set this channel up for.
Yeah. So just join us, subscribe, follow, and even recommend friends and family and anyone that you know that we should try and interview on this channel. But we hope to see you soon.